Hello friends, welcome back to your UPSC. Today in Oceanography we will be covering bottom relief of oceans. In it we will be doing three major ocean bottom reliefs, that is Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean and Indian Ocean. So let's get started. So this part we will be covering by understanding through maps. Okay, so first we will cover the Atlantic Ocean. So discussing about shape and size of Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean, it extends over 16.5% of total area of the earth, which is about 50%, that is half of Pacific Ocean. What Pacific Ocean covers, Atlantic Ocean is just half of it. Okay, and the most characteristic or most striking feature of uh, this ocean is its mid-Atlantic ridge that divides the ocean into two halves, and this ocean is in S shape. Okay, now we will see that the mid-Atlantic ridge is divided into or has various transverse branches that spread in various regions of this ocean. Okay, now as we have discussed the shape and size of this ocean, now we will look into its basic bottom reliefs. So the first relief or the first bottom relief that we will discuss is continental shelves. Continental shelves, except for few areas in Atlantic Ocean, we have quite broad continental shelves, and the for reason for they that they are so broad is that we have coastal plains here in the coast on the coast. Okay, instead of having mountains we have coastal plains, and because we have coastal plains we have broad continental shelves, because the coastal plains, they have the rocks which are soft, and these soft rock, they get eroded easily and they settle as continental shelves near the continental margin. Okay, so we have quite broad continental shelves. If we look into the western coast, the western coast of Europe, in northwest Europe, we will see that here we will have quite broad continental shelf. Okay, so we will have quite broad continental shelf till Baffin's Bay. Till here we will have quite broad continental shelf. From here the continental shelves will narrow down. Okay, so they will be quite narrow till Cape of Good Hope. Okay, till here. Now if we look into the western coast, we will have Labrador Sea here. So in the Labrador Sea we will have continental shelves of varying in their width, and the range of the width is from 240 kilometers to 400 kilometers. Okay, so the width of continental shelf is quite good here till Brazilian coast. Okay, now at the Brazilian coast what will happen, because we have plateau here, because of this plateau the continental shelves will narrow down. Now except for these islands, that is Falklands Island, we will have narrow coast in South America, in the eastern coast of Atlantic. Okay, so this is the pattern of continental shelves. Now as we have discussed the continental shelves, Now we will look into Mid-Oceanic Ridge. Now Mid-Oceanic Ridge, as we have discussed earlier, it runs in the mid of Atlantic Ocean and it divides the ocean into two halves. Okay, and this ridge, it extends from Bear Islands to Bobet Islands. Okay, so from here till here, somewhere here. Okay, and they cover the distance of over 15,000 kilometers. Okay, oceanic ridges, mid-oceanic ridge, and these ridges, they have various transverse ridges rising from them. And except for Bermuda Island, all the oceanic islands are formed from from the raised part of this oceanic ridge only. Okay, all the oceanic islands. Okay, except for Bermuda Island that are present here. Now, if you look into the ridge, we have ridge like here, this. So here we will have Telegraph Plateau. Then we will have Challengers Ridge here. Then Rio Grande Ridge. And here we will have Beverly Thompson Ridge. Here we will have Dolphin Race. As a part of Oceanic Ridge. Okay. So this was about Oceanic Ridge. Now we will look into major oceanic basins. So there are numerous basins in Atlantic Ocean surrounded by ridges and raises on the floor of Atlantic Ocean. So first we will have Labrador Basin, then we will have Northeast Atlantic Basin. So this is Northeast Atlantic Basin. Then we will have Northwest Atlantic Basin. So the Labrador Basin, its depth is about 4,000 meters deep, while in Northeast Atlantic Ocean, the depth is little bit more than 5,000 meters. In the Northwest Atlantic, its depth is exceeds 5,000 meter and it ranges up to sometime 7,000 meters. The Cape Verde Basin will have depth varying from 5,000 to 7,000 meters. Then we will have Brazilian Basin. Brazilian Basin, the depth will be more than 6,000 meters. Then we will have Southeast Atlantic Basin, where the depth will be, average depth will be 6,700 meters. Then we will have Cape Basin here, and then Argentina Basin. Then we will have Agulhas Basin, and lastly we will have Atlantic Antarctic Basin here. Now after Oceanic Basin, we will discuss Oceanic Deeps. So the Atlantic Ocean floor is characterized by general absence of linear deeps, and this may be due to absence of fold line along the Atlantic coast. But there are less, but there are some oceanic deeps, and these are called as deep sea trenches or troughs. Now, firstly, we will have South Sandwich Island, and near them we will have South Sandwich Trench. Here we will have South Sandwich Trench, and its depth is about 4,454 fathoms. Then we will have Romanche Deep. Romanche Deep will be present somewhere here, and this will have the depth of about 4030 fathoms. Now lastly we have uh, Puerto Rico deep, and this deep is the deepest among all, and its depth is about 4812 fathom deeps, and we can see it is located somewhere here. Okay, so these three are the major trenches or deeps, whatever we call them. So these are major oceanic deeps. Now we will look into basic islands. So islands in Atlantic Ocean, we only find few islands in Atlantic Ocean, like we have British Isle Island, then we have Newfoundland. These islands are part of continental shelves, and these islands are formed by slightly raised continental shelves. Okay, then we will have West Indies. It comprises of few island arc. They are found near the mainland. Okay, so here we have few island arc. Then we will have Iceland and Faroes, that are actually, here we will have Iceland and Faroes. So these are actually highest peak or higher part of mid-oceanic ridge, as we have discussed. Okay, now in the extreme south, in the South Atlantic Ocean, there are large number of island group, namely Sandwich Island, Georgian Islands, Shetland Island, Falkland Islands, South Orkney Island. These islands are the higher part of various submarine ridges. So these ridges, when they are divided, these transverse ridges, which are the part of mid-oceanic ridge, the main ridge. Okay, so the raised part of these ridges are forming these islands. Okay, the oceanic islands like Azore in the north, then we have Ascension and Tristan da Juan Islands in the south. They are the higher part of mid-Atlantic ridge, rising above the water surface. Now to the east of mid-Atlantic ridge lies St. Helena's Island, which are raised from abyssal plain, and these and its slope are steep. Okay, and the western side we will see, look into 20-degree latitude in the south. So here, somewhere here, we will find Trinidad Islands, islands of Trinidad. Okay, here somewhere. They are also raised from oceanic floor. These islands, they appear like sea mounts. Now we will have, this is our Bermuda Island. This is not part of mid-oceanic ridge. It is raised from oceanic floor. Okay. Then we have some islands which are part of, these are mountainous islands which are part of Puerto Rico. Then we have Cape Verde Island, and these are Canary group of island. We have Canary group of island. So these were some of the islands that are present in Atlantic Ocean. Now we will look into marginal seas. Now South Atlantic Ocean is characterized by absence of marginal seas. On the contrary, the European and American side of the North Atlantic have number of broad and extensive marginal seas. Okay, so first marginal sea we will have on European side, that is Baltic Sea. Okay, we will have Baltic Sea, we have Northern Sea, then we have Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so here we will have Baltic Sea, Northern Sea, Mediterranean Sea. Then we will have English Channel here. Then we will have Strait of Gibraltar. Okay, we will have Bay of Biscay. So these are found on European side. Now we will look into the western margin of the Atlantic Ocean. We will have Gulf of Mexico here, and then we will have Caribbean Sea. So this will together be known as, it is known as American Mediterranean. Okay, so this Gulf of Mexico, then Caribbean Sea, then we will have here, we will have Labrador Sea. Okay, and we will have, when we come little bit down, we will have Hamilton Inlet. Okay, now these were some major uh, marginal seas. Along these, other marginal seas in the western margin of Atlantic Ocean are Hudson Bay here, then we will have Baffin's Bay, then we will have Davis Strait, then, and this along these we will have some islands like Baffin Island, okay, etc. So this was all about Atlantic Ocean. Now as we have covered the Atlantic Ocean, now we will come over to Pacific Ocean. Discussing about the shape and size of Pacific Ocean. Pacific Ocean, along with its marginal sea cover, it covers about 33%. Okay, so it covers about 33% of total surface area of Earth. Okay, and this ocean is bounded by Asia, Australia on the west, and North America and South America in the east. Okay, the length of this ocean is 14,900 kilometers north and south, whereas along its equator its width is little bit more than 16,000 kilometers. Okay, so along equator it is little bit more than 16,000 kilometers. Now we will look into basic bottom relief features. Firstly, we will have continental shelves. Continental shelves surrounding the margin of Pacific Ocean are controlled by shape and structure of coastline that we have already discussed. Like if we have plateau or mountainous region in the coastline, the continental shelves will be narrower, and if we have soft rock, then the continental shelves will be wider. Okay, so due to the presence of Rockies and Andes Mountain parallel to the western coast of North America and South America respectively, so we have Rockies Mountain here and Andes Mountain here. So because of them, the continental shelves here are very narrow. Okay, so here we will have narrow continental shelves, and their width is about 80 kilometers, only 80 kilometers. However, on the western margin of the ocean, due to absence of mountain chain and plateau, the continental shelves are broad. Okay, the continental shelves adjoining the coast of Australia, West Indies, and East Asia are respectively much more broader, because we have, see, we have many islands. So here we will have very broad continental shelf. Along these, the width of the shelves varies from 160 kilometers to 1600 kilometers, and their average depth is hardly exceeding 1000 meters, that is 1 kilometer. Okay, and these shelves are situated near most of the islands and marginal seas. Okay, so here we will have continental shelves. So here we will have broader continental shelves. Okay, now we will look into, after continental shelves, we will look into ridges and basin. Now the major part of the floor of ocean is made up of abyssal plain. The bottom relief of Pacific Ocean is characterized by the absence of mid-oceanic ridge, and the major characteristics of the deep sea plain is that they are deeper than most of the other ocean. Okay, because we have convergent plate boundaries, so we have, firstly we will have the already deep sea plain, and because we have convergent plate boundaries, we will have many trenches that will be found here. Okay, but however, we will have some or few submarine ridges of medium height and extensive curvilinear submarine plateaus. Okay, so in Pacific Ocean, the bottom reliefs to the east is less conspicuous than the west. Okay, the Eastern Pacific or the East Pacific Ridge, it is also known as Albatross Plateau, and it is the most important one. Okay, it is very, or it is quite extensive, and the depth of the water covering the plateau is about 3000 to 4000 meters. So here we will have Albatross Plateau somewhere here. Okay, it is quite extensive. Now here we will have Aleutian Ridge in the North Pacific. In South Pacific we will have Pacific Antarctic Ridge. Okay, in the southeast of Pacific Plateau. Now this was about the ridges. Now we will look into oceanic deeps. Oceanic deeps. Now, as we all know that the most of the oceanic trenches and deeps, and even the deepest one, are found along the rim of Pacific Ocean. Now we have Challenger's Deep in the South Pacific. Okay. Then we will have in the South Pacific Mariana Trench, and it is the deepest one. It is here near Japan. This is Korea. Here we will have Mariana Trench. Here we will have Japan Trench. Then we will have Kurile Trench. Then we will have Aleutian Trench. Then here we will have Philippines Trench. Okay. Then Sudan Trench. Then we'll have Tonga Trench here. Tonga Trench. Then Kermadec Trench. Here we will have Atacama Trench. So these are major trenches in the Pacific Ocean. Now we will look into islands of the Pacific Ocean. Now we will look into islands of Pacific Ocean. Now there are about 20,000 estimated number of islands, but total that we have found are relatively less. And these 20,000 islands, among them there are big islands in the Western Pacific Ocean, and they are structurally the part of mainland that have been submerged under the seawater, and the others, they are relatively having very less area. So among various island arcs, we have island arc here. Okay, we have very extensive Kurile Island, Japanese Island, Philippines Island. Okay, we have Kurile Island, Japanese Island, Philippines Island, West Indies, New Zealand, West Indies, New Zealand, and in the eastern part of North Pacific Ocean island, we have Aleutian Island. Then we will have islands off the coast of British Columbia. Then we have Chilean Island in Chiles. Okay, Chile. In southwestern part of Pacific Ocean, we have several small scattered island group of islands. They are classified under three names. They are basically Micronesia, Melanesia, and Polynesia. Melanesia includes islands of Somalia, New Hebrides, and Fiji. Okay, they are situated in to the south of Micronesia, and most of them are coral islands. Now, New Guiana Island is also included in this group. Micronesia, it includes Marshalls, Gilbert, Alex Islands, and most of these islands are small in size, and they are situated north of equator to the west of 180-degree longitude. Now, almost all these islands, that is Micronesian islands, they are coral. Okay. Lastly, we have Polynesian Island. They are situated in triangular area, and these group of islands are bounded in north by Hawaii Islands, southeast by Eastern Islands, and then southwest by New Zealand. Okay, and in these group we have some islands like Line Islands, so we have Tonga, Cook Society, and Tuamotu Islands. These are the important one in these islands. Apart of island, there is one more characteristic feature, that is the volcanic cones of Pacific Islands. They are located between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. They are unevenly distributed, and the maximum number of these volcanic islands are found in Western Pacific Ocean. Okay, so here we can find maximum number of volcanic islands. Now we will look into major marginal seas. So marginal seas, starting from here, we will have Bering Sea, Sea of Okhotsk, then we will have Sea of Japan, then East China Sea, then we will have South China Sea. Now here, coming down, we will have Timor Sea, then Arafura Sea, Ar Arafura, Arafura Sea, then we will have Coral Sea. Okay, so this was in the western part. Now we will look into the eastern part. In the American coast, that is on the eastern part, there is dearth of marginal seas along the eastern coast of this ocean. The Gulf of California is the only marginal sea on this side of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so this was all about the Pacific Ocean. Now we will look into Indian Ocean. This part comprises of Indian Ocean. Now looking into shape and size of Indian Ocean stands next to the Atlantic Ocean in respect to area. So it is third in number. First is Pacific Ocean, then we have Atlantic Ocean, and lastly we have Indian Ocean, which covers 20% of the total 20% of the total surface area of Earth. Okay. Now this Indian Ocean, it differs from Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean in the way that the major part of this ocean, or most of the part of this ocean, lies in southern hemisphere, and it is covered from land in the north. Okay, and beyond Tropic of Cancer we can see just the marginal seas, okay, are beyond Tropic of Cancer, and except for the northeast, its shore comprises of remnant of Gondwana land, in other words the ancient plateau of Africa, Arabia, Deccan, and Western Australia. Okay, now looking into continental shelves surrounding this ocean varies in width. Okay, So the continental shelf of this ocean are generally narrow with the average width of about 46 kilometers. See, however, in the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal and also in Andaman Sea, the width of shells it varies from 192 kilometers to 2208 kilometers. Okay, so in Bay of Bengal, Andaman Sea, sorry, Arabian Sea and Andaman Sea, we can see that there we have broad, little but broad continental shelves. Okay, and the depth of the water lies between 50 to 200 meters, but the depth of the sea on the seaward edge of the shelves along the western coast of Australia has been measured here. It has been measured from 300 meters to 400 meters. Okay, near Australia and New Guiana, the shelf's width is about 960 kilometers wide, and due to intense glaciation, the structure of shelves adjoining Antarctica has become very complex. Okay, so at the landward margin, we can see the shelf depth is about 150 to 200 meters, while in the seaward margin, the depth varies from 400 to 500 meters. Okay, so in the tropical areas, we have different types of coral reefs such as fringing reefs, barrier reefs, atolls that are found on the shelves. Okay, the continental shelves on the outer margin of the continental slopes on the outer margin of the shelves are marked by extreme steepness. Okay, so we have studied that steepness or the slope of continental slopes, it lies between 5 degree to 60 degree. Okay, so here this slope is about 10 to 30 degree. Now the continental shelves are characterized by large number of submarine valleys and canyons. Okay, so here the continental shelves, they have large number of submarine valleys and canyons, and width of the shelf along the African coast is generally normal. Okay, but when we look into the its vicinity of Madagascar, the shelves are relatively broader. Okay, so here we have broader shelves, otherwise they are just normal. And in the Arabian Sea, and then we have Andaman Sea, here we will have, and here also we will have bit broader continental shelf. Okay, so this is how continental shelves in Indian Ocean are, they look like. Okay, the continental shelves of Java, Sumatra, here we have about the width of about 160 kilometers. Okay, now we will look into ridges and basins after the continental shelves. So the bottom relief of Indian Ocean resemble to Atlantic Ocean. The ocean has a continuous central ridge. Okay, so it has a continuous central ridge, and this central ridge is known as Arabic Indian Ridge, together with its southern extension. Okay, so we have this Arabic Indian Ridge, and this ridge, it connects with Antarctic continent. Okay, the central ridge, it separates eastern basin of the uh, Indian Ocean from the western basin. Okay, so the eastern basin is separated from the western basin, and all the oceanic islands in this ocean are situated on the central ridge. So either they are situated on the central ridge or its cross ridges, except for Cocos and Christmas Island, and these two are exceptions. Okay, we have in Indian Ocean we have large number of broad submarine ridges separating several individual basins of abyssal plains, and one of the most distinguishing feature is the presence of series of curving ridges. Okay, so we have ridges like this is our ridge. It's from here, then we will have from here, here we will have broader one. So this is exactly what Indian or Arabic Indian ridge looks like. Okay, so now this Arabic Indian ridge, it divides Indian Ocean into three distinct parts. So this is African part, then we have Australian part, and the part that is adjoining Antarctica. Okay, and these parts, they are subdivided into number of basins. Okay, so we have like North Australian Basin extending up to 320 kilometers, then we have South Indian Basin, then we have Australian Antarctic Basin, then we have Arab Basin, which is surrounded by ridges from all sides. Okay, now that we have done the ridges and basins, now we will look into oceanic deeps. Oceanic deeps, about 50% of the bottom of Indian Ocean is in the form of broad and flat deeps or sea plains. Their depth, it is ranging from 4,000 to 6,000 meters. Unlike Pacific and Atlantic Ocean, the oceanic deeps with unfathomed depth are lacking. Okay, so we have Sudan Deep near Java, and its deep depth is about 7,450 meters. Then we have some island groups. So if we compare the Pacific Islands and Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean islands, the number of islands in Indian Ocean are far less. Some of the islands are, however, supposed to be the part of mainland. Out of these islands, we have Madagascar Island, Sri Lanka. They are the most prominent, and we have many small islands like Scotra, Zanzibar, then we have Komoro, situated in the Gulf of Garda Fui Fall. Okay, then we have Andaman Nicobar Island, situated in Bay of Bengal. Okay, here we have Andaman Nicobar Islands. Then we have Lakshadweep Islands. Okay, we have some small islands that are exception, and these are Cocos and Christmas Island that are found in this part of world. Okay, because the eastern part of Indian Ocean, where these Cocos and Christmas Islands are present, it is uniformly deep, and the bottom is uniformly deep, while we have just few uprising which forms Cocos Island and Christmas Islands. Okay, now we will look into marginal seas. Marginal seas, we will have Gulf of Eden, then we have Red Sea, then we will have Arabian Sea, then we have Bay of Bengal here, then we have Mozambique Channel. Okay, now we will have Gulf of Persia, or Persian Gulf. We have Strait of Hormuz, which has become very narrow and its width is limited only to 80 kilometers. Now, these Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, they no way represent the marginal seas of Indian Ocean. Okay, so they do not represent marginal seas of Indian Ocean. They are only the northward extension of these ocean. Okay, so we do not count them in marginal seas. Okay, but they are part of Indian Ocean. Then we have Andaman Sea between Kara Isthmus and island arc of Andaman and Nicobar. Okay, so this is one of the marginal seas. So this was about Indian Ocean, and with this we complete our bottom reliefs of major oceans of the world. So that was all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's lecture. Now let's meet in our next class. Till then, take care and have a nice day. Thank you.